Hey guys, before this episode begins, I just want to let you all know that I've partnered with DAT Bootcamp to offer a 10% discount code on all Bootcamp products. While studying for my DAT, I found DAT Bootcamp to be the best resource during my preparation. Their extensive review videos and practice exams are second to none. Use code DOD10 at checkout for a 10% discount, applicable to all programs Bootcamp has to offer. Again, that's DOD10 at checkout. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Dose Dental Podcast. The focus of this podcast is to share undergraduate and dental school experiences with dental students and dental professionals through valuable discussions. They're sharing the journeys and stories of current dental students and dental professionals, where goals will be find answers and guidance for your own pre-dental journeys. We're very excited to have current D3 dental student Ethan Nguyen with us today. Ethan graduated from the University of Pacific with a bachelor's degree in biology. He's now a D2 student at the University of Pacific Arthur A. Dugoni School of Dentistry. What's up, Ethan? Welcome to the podcast. How you been? And where are you currently in the midst of entering your D2 year?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you for having me. So right now, I actually just finished my D2 year. We're on summer break right now. I have about 2 more weeks left before I head back up for my third year of dental school. And then after that, we're done. Just kind of crazy to think about.
I know that's pretty insane. So, so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you're from, where you grew up, what you like to do for fun?
Yeah. So I'm from San Jose, California. So it's an hour away from San Francisco, and that's where I currently attend dental school right now. I don't know. I guess a kind of recurring thing you're gonna hear from a lot of dental students is you kind of lose all your hobbies when you start dental school, just as things start to get a little bit more intense. But I'm slowly discovering new interests and things I like. SF is a pretty walkable city. It's super hilly, but there's a lot to do there. So kind of enjoying hiking and walking around lately. My friends have been getting me into climbing and stuff. There's a lot of bouldering gyms around us, so that's pretty fun as well. But yeah,
it's awesome. I think that, I guess when you start dental school, you kind of get one thing, so it's kind of hard to keep everything else, I guess. But we'll get into that. So, so where'd you start getting interested in dentistry? Was it from a young age, or did you kind of get into it throughout undergrad?
Yeah, so the thing about my situation is a little different because I was part of this program in undergrad called a 3+3 program. And how that works is, you do 3 years of undergrad at UOP in Stockton, and then you do another 3 years of the dental school here. So I kind of had to make that decision pretty early on back in high school if I wanted to really do dentistry or not, and that's asking for a lot. You're 17, you have to decide what you want to do for the rest of your life. It's kind of crazy. So I just shadowed around a bunch of different healthcare professions. I'm fortunate enough where a lot of my family members are in healthcare. So I was able to have access, I guess, to a bunch of different professions. And initially, I wanted to go to med. I did the typical volunteering at a hospital type of thing. And I kind of found parts of it were satisfying, but other parts of it weren't really for me, And I do have a lot of relatives in dentistry, so I decided to look around into that. And then, I kind of found that it was the most fulfilling one to me. I thought it was pretty interesting. I was able to do a lot of things from my favorite hobbies, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's just a pretty stable career as well. So that's why I decided on dentistry.
I want to ask, so I know this could be an interview question, but why not?
Yeah.
Why not medicine? Why'd you choose to do dentistry? What were the deciding factors there?
Yeah. So I think at the time, when I was in high school, I think a lot of my friends wanted to go into either healthcare or tech or something like that. Yeah. So I kind of felt in a way, I was obligated to go into that as well, just because, in the Bay Area, that's there are 2 pretty big career choices here. Right. But anyway, I decided to have more into healthcare because I can't do CS or anything like that. And through shadowing and just volunteering at the hospital, you gotta see the cool parts of medicine. I really liked patient interactions. As a volunteer, I just basically visit patients' rooms, give them what they needed, discharge patients. So in a way, you only see the good side of medicine, I guess. But at the same time, we had a lot of personal stuff going on in our family, a lot of stuff in the hospital as well. So I also simultaneously got to see the not so good side of medicine, you know, the more sad part. So like, I just realized that, you know, it's kind of, you got to be kind of mentally strong for that type of thing. I just realized that I couldn't do that every day, and kind of just like the entire process of getting to become a physician as well is just so much more taxing. I feel like, you know, after dental school, I can go out and practice if I want, but with them, you get to go to residency, do more schooling, so much like commitment and everything to that too. And if I wasn't at the time like already fully committed to it, already having kind of doubts back in like high school, I was like, can this really be something that I want to commit the rest of my life to, you know? So that honestly for me was one pretty big factor as to why not medicine. But they do share, medicine and dentistry do share a lot of overlap, I guess, in terms of like qualities, things you can get out of it.
Right. I mean, so you seem to have like figured it out kind of early. You want to do this. So
Yeah.
the University Pacific program is pretty unique to me. I mean, I know a lot of, is it the only program that has a 3 and 3?
Yeah. Yeah.
School?
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. So, I mean, you know, coming out of, I guess that'd be high school, right? So where was your kind of mind at that early on where you wanted to apply to a combined program? How'd you like know about it? And, you know, how'd you kind of go about deciding that?
Yeah. So I guess one thing about dentistry that's kind of cool is it's pretty niche, you know, like you hear when people are majoring in bio or something, like 9 times out of 10, they want to go to medicine. So like there's other healthcare professions too that I feel like is kind of like a smaller, tighter knit community in a way. So dentistry is kind of niche, and just in the Bay, that program is pretty well known because UOP's dental school, at least here, has a really good name. So everyone kind of knew about it. And at the time too, you know, I feel like every year, and something that's kind of sad is that the college admission process, I feel like every year gets more and more competitive. So at this time, you know, I knew I wanted to go into healthcare, and I was pretty set on dentistry, and I was like, okay, I know it's going to be really tough to get in dental school after undergrad's over. What's like the best kind of way, the best and easiest kind of way I can really solidify my shot of getting in? So then I came across this UOP program, and I just applied to it. You know, I still applied to other schools as well. It's normal 4-year schools, but I was like, you know, if I get in, it'll be cool. I'll have like a solid option to consider. And then I applied for it, didn't think I'd get in. I ended up getting in. So then I kind of had to have that kind of conversation with myself, like, okay, do I want to have that traditional 4-year undergrad experience, or do I kind of want to take like an easier route for myself? And even though, yeah, it might not be like a typical college experience, you might thank yourself for it later. So that was a really big like decision I had to make, and I ended up choosing obviously the 3-3-1, and I feel like it played out pretty well. Looking back at it all now, I feel like I'd probably do it again. Not just so that getting into dental school from a 4-year institution is like impossible, but I think I have the resources to do pretty well in my undergrad, so I'm fine with that decision. Yeah.
And so did you guys have like an interview process, like as if you were applying to dental school?
Yeah. So one thing that's kind of like cool about it is, so we have like there are 3 different tracks you could take in undergrad. So some kids did 2 years of undergrad and then 3 years of dental school. There's 3 years of undergrad, 3 years of dental school, and then 4 years and 3 years. But each kind of like program had a different like GPA requirement. So like you had to keep a certain GPA your entire time. And then if you meet that GPA requirement and you meet the DAT score, you're guaranteed an interview with UOP. And with UOP and with a lot of other dental schools, getting to the interview stage is probably the hardest point. And then once you get that, you're pretty much an ensign. So that was kind of just the main benefit of the program, I guess. But we still had to interview. The DAT score, I still had to study for the DAT. It wasn't like I was exempt from it. But I got the score I needed, had the GPAs for it. You could still apply outside of dental schools if you wanted to. So a lot of my friends did end up going to other dental schools. Right. But yeah, you still had UOP, which is still a very solid option. And it all worked out really well. Yeah.
I mean, so with the early guarantee like that, like how did you kind of,
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of easy to, I feel like if you have I have some friends that are in that program for like med school and like dental schools also.
Yeah.
It was it hard to maintain focus for undergrad, that this is still what you wanted to do those 3 years?
dude, I'm not gonna lie, even like now in dental school, like there's moments, especially in undergrad though, when you're like studying, for a bio degree, there's these classes you got to take that are like, I remember once like what is it, ecology, about like we used to listen to like bird sounds and everything like that and like identify plants. And I'm like, how is this like, I know this is part of the process to get in dental school, but like how is this related to anything, that I'm planning on using? So like in those moments, I kind of guess that it is kind of distracting from the overall bigger picture. And even now, in dental school, like especially first year D1, when you're in sim lab grinding all the time and like you just can't get it right, it just gets super frustrating and you kind of just want to like almost give up in a way, like why is this so stressful? Why am I doing this to myself? But I think kind of just putting things back into perspective and kind of looking at the bigger picture kind of helps ground you again. So I feel like when it does get very stressful is when I started to kind of question what I was doing. But I feel like with any major, with anything, you're about to run into stress and you're about to have those moments to kind of just how you handle it, I guess.
So like what kind of things did you have to do to like kind of bring yourself back to reality if this is like your end goal and this is your future? Did you have like a job assisting or shadowing, or did you continue shadowing, or like did you kind of connect with dentistry throughout those undergrad years?
So one thing I feel like it's kind of cheesy, but like that helped in undergrad was, I was part of a pre-dental society. Like every school has like a pre-dental org, and every now and then they'd host like students to come speak to us, like current dental students, or they'd organize like tours of like the dental school and stuff like that. So like those kind of like, whenever they would come and talk to us or we'd go up to Dugoni and kind of tour it, it kind of helps put things back into perspective, that like, this is what you're working towards. If you just keep at it, you'll get to this point as well. Right. So like that definitely helped out as well. And kind of just having that support system too. Like I was fortunate enough in that program to have a cohort of like 60 other kids. So you get really tight with them because you take all of the same classes that they do. Just having that kind of those people that are going through the same thing that you are, kind of keeping each other in check, really helped out with it all. And even now in dental school, kind of, when you're going through all of these like super difficult practicals and exams and stuff like that, just taking a break and balancing it all out, making sure that like, that like, yeah, it's important to finish dental school, but like, it's not your entire life, and you still got a life to live. Make sure you go and enjoy it out here and stuff like that is something that kind of kept me in check as well, at least right now.
Yeah, I think at least for me, I just actually applied a month ago. So yeah, I basically been like assisting since like freshman year, but it's kind of allowed me, like even during school, I've been able to do it, fortunately. So like it's been able to, kind of keep me in the realm of dentistry and kind of take me back to what I really want to do, the end goal, even while I'm taking like, chemistry or like some random like course, like you said, like dude, it's even on the DAT, like we'll talk about this right now, but even on the DAT, like there's ecology, there's like a bunch of random stuff that, and I don't even know if there was like anything about teeth on the DAT.
No, there's not.
Maybe just like bone structure, but not specifically like in the oral cavity. So it was just like, at some point, like when I was studying for the DAT, like last winter, I was like, dude, what? Like there was times where I was like, dude, what am I exactly doing here? But
I have a wonder sometimes where I'm like, okay, what is like, I feel like there's a better way to go about like teaching stuff to us. I don't think it should take as long too. Like I feel like, for example, at dental school, if you want to be good at it, they should like get you started earlier on. You know what I mean? Like why? I don't know. That's just my take on it. But I know exactly where you're coming from. It is kind of, it's annoying, but like, yeah, it's just one of those things.
I guess just like it's just their way of kind of selecting. Because I mean, if there was a way for like undergrads to start like dental school things during undergrad, then like be even more competitive. I don't know. They probably soon, but that's just how it is right now. But I mean, can you talk a little bit about the DET? So like, what was like the minimum score that Arthur Dugoni School of Dentistry like required?
Yeah, so we needed an 18 minimum across the board. So like even if you had like a 27 AA, but like one section was a 17, you wouldn't get like your instant interview. So it was kind of, it was really scary because that moment like when you're taking that survey at the end of the test and then like the score pops up. Yeah, I was looking away the whole time, and then like I was taking the survey to like try to relax and stuff, but I was like, you know what, like I did this test, I'll just see what I got. I looked away and I clicked on the screen. I'm like, I looked, like, I didn't see a single 17. I was like, all right, we're chilling. Like, let's go. But it was like, dude, DAT was in a way like, okay, because I'm studying for boards right now. And I low-key think that DAT was kind of worse because at least now it's like stuff that's kind of relevant to things I've been doing in clinic, things I've been learning at school. Whereas with the DAT, it was like, there was reading on there, the PAT, all those things like that. And I was like, okay, this is just super random. But yeah, just looking back at that. So I studied for the DAT over my winter break. So I had 2.5 weeks to study for this test. And I wasn't planning on doing that, but a lot of upperclassmen said, oh, it's a super crammable test. Like either drag it out over the summer or just take it in one shot over winter break, do whatever you want. And I was like, you know what? Like, let's just do winter break. And you kind of got to be strategic about it, because like if you don't get that 17 or you don't get that 18, you have to wait 3 months to retake the test. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, I didn't want to put all my eggs in one basket for the summer. I was like, in the event that I do get a 17, I kind of want to give myself an extra shot. So I decided to take it a winter break. And then I was like, okay, if I fail this time, I always have summer. I can just do it while I'm applying. But it ended up working out during winter break. So I think kind of just being like, I don't know, strategic when you take it and kind of just having the discipline, I guess, to take the test and study for it is what really matters.
I mean, did you use like DT Bootcamp as a source, or did you kind of self-study?
Yeah, so I use DT Bootcamp. They have like a study schedule on there. I tried following it, but then like after like a few days, I was like, okay, this is just too unrealistic for me. Yeah. So you kind of start figuring out what works best for you. That plus like supplementing it with your notes from undergrad was definitely pretty helpful for me. But I don't know. I'm glad it's over, especially when there's a ton of thoughts like the bio section. It's super wide, now of like stuff I could ask you. It's just kind of crazy. But yeah.
So I mean, so that was like was that the year before you matriculated in dental school?
So I took it winter break after my second year. Or the winter break of my second year. So yeah, so I finished the DAT before I was even applying.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So then you had like your entire like senior year or whatever to go through, and then start dental school.
Yeah. So senior year was kind of just like interviewing and stuff. So senior year for me was during COVID, so it was kind of annoying. But yeah, I applied that summer, and then the rest of senior year just waiting for interviews and stuff. And then you go to dental school after senior year is over.
Right. So like, is your program? Your program, I'm assuming, is then like non-binding. Like you don't have to. You can apply out if you want to.
Yeah. You can apply out.
So how'd you like kind of? So how was like your process after the DAT? Like, what did you, apply out? Like, what schools did you kind of apply to? And what was your kind of interview process like after that?
Yeah. So I took my DAT. I got a 20, right? And like, honestly, I'm not going to lie, that was lower than I wanted and what I wanted. I wanted at least to get 21, right. But the thing is like, they take your most recent score. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I could retake this to get my score up. But like, at the end of the day, I knew I wanted to go to UOP. And I was like, okay, since I already meet all the criteria for it, like, I don't think it's worth the time, the money to possibly get a lower score. You know what I mean? So I just went with it. And I kind of wanted to have like the realistic schools I wanted to go to, just because apps are super expensive. So I looked at my GPA, looked at my DAT, looked at like average admitted stats for the schools I wanted to go to, and to see where I stacked up with that. So a lot of my schools are kind of target/reach ones. And I think that kind of formulated a lot of where I wanted to apply. But kind of looking back at it now, I think that I definitely could have done more research on where I was applying. I think for me, since it was like I knew I was going to UOP, I was applying to other schools just to apply to other schools, Yeah. But I feel like looking back at it, I probably should have done a lot more research into that. So I feel like a big piece of advice is like, if the only school you got into was this one school, right, would you want to go there? And like, if the answer is no, like, I don't think it should even be on the list, because like each school is just super expensive to even like spend the time and money on, So yeah, I applied to, I think 7 schools total. I wanted to stay in California, but I also applied to some schools that were out of state, because I know California is like super competitive to get into here. And and I ended up getting into 3 and waitlisted at 1. So I think I had a pretty good admission cycle, but yeah.
I mean, yeah. So then, how were like those interviews at those schools? Did you come across any questions where you're just like, "Damn, I don't know how to answer that"?
Yeah. So for the most part, it was pretty positive. I don't think that like I know the interview part is what scares a lot of people.
Yeah.
But for me, I feel like it was kind of the more relaxed part because I think I feel like I know how to converse pretty well. So I wasn't too nervous about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this one school, I'm not gonna name it, but they asked me a question that was like, what do you say? He was like, okay, you're from California. This school's very far from California. This school's in this state. Like, why are we even going to take you? You're not going to go here. And I was like, ooh, okay. And I was just super shocked that you even asked that in the interview. I was like, it's kind of weird, but yeah, exactly. So I just tried playing around and stuff. I was like, oh yeah, like it'd be a cool learning experience or change up the environment, things like that. I got way sick against school, but it's okay because I wasn't going to go anywhere. But yeah. So, but for the most part, most of the questions were like super what you'd expect, you know, like why this school, why dentistry, talk to me about your like favorite leadership experience and stuff like that. They were all very just conversational, kind of chill. So I don't think it's too much to worry about or too much to stress about.
I mean, that's cool. I mean, so after the interviews, you kind of got into UOP. What were like your expectations going into the school? Have you like been around the school a lot in your undergrad years? Like, what was your kind of your first impressions of the school?
Yeah, so because of that program I was in, I already knew a lot of the students at UOP, right? And those same talks that I said motivated me, when they came back to talk to us, they all seemed like that. They were like, dental school is super hard. Like, enjoy the free time while you have it. You're never going to get it back again. So, like, I'm not going to lie, I was terrified going to dental school. I was like, because I wasn't like the top student in undergrad, you know, I wasn't the best student. And I was like, if I'm already struggling here, I'm going to struggle like even more in dental school.
Right.
So I went in very more so scared than excited. And I'm not going to lie, D1 year was really tough. You know, it was everything they were saying. But I think that transition was honestly just, it was normal. There was just an adjusting period for anyone, you know, trying to get from undergrad to dental school. So I think in that way, dental school kind of lived up to my expectations. But honestly, like once you get over that hump, I feel like second year was so much more chill. And third year now, like I'm looking at my schedule for this next year. We have like 0 classes. Like it's almost all clinic time now. So that's pretty just, I'm really excited for that as well. Yeah.
So I mean, like, it's 3-year program. So what is like the curriculum kind of based on? Like how, because you're a D3 right now, but in most schools that mean that you're a D3 and then you have D4 after that. So like how do they kind of condense? Do they condense the material, or is it just kind of a faster pace, or like how does it work?
Yeah. So one thing is that UOP teaches. So our board's pass rate is 98%, and it's because they teach like almost what you need to know just for boards, you know what I mean? So like, because of that, like honestly, when I'm preparing right now, I recognize the things I'm seeing. It's not the first time I'm seeing it, so it's pretty helpful. But I think where they cut back on a lot of stuff is with first and second year, especially first year. So in dental school, you have courses that are direct courses in SimLab are like doing fillings and stuff like that, right? But then you have indirect courses, and indirect are things like doing crown preps, doing bridge preps, things like that. I know a lot of dental schools don't let students start prepping bridges and stuff until D2 year because it is kind of more an advanced concept, but they teach us that in our D1 year. So typically, I think first year at a lot of other schools is just direct work with some indirect, but with us, we took it simultaneously. So you had direct on like Thursdays and indirect on like Wednesdays. So it was kind of a grind every day. And your second year, you also take a lot of more didactic classes. So they teach you everything you need to know in SimLab your first year. And second year is kind of just more like supplemental stuff, if that makes sense. Because you're already seeing patients your second year. So yeah. I think that's where they're able to cut back on everything. And also like, dude, the amount of classes we take at once is kind of crazy. Like one final season, it's over 3 days. We had 12 finals. So like like looking back at it now, it's kind of like what were we even doing? But yeah, I think that's how UOP cuts back on it. But the thing is, like, I don't feel like I'm any more or less than the people that go to 4-year schools. In terms of my clinical skills, even in that first year alone, I've gone to do so many things that I know students at other schools haven't even gotten the chance to do yet, which is kind of crazy to me. But yeah.
So I mean, like, how fast did you guys get into I guess like sim lab, and when did you guys start doing like handpiece work?
Yeah, so we literally started our first week of D1. We're already in sim lab, like prepping on that. Like, there's like a little, I don't know if you've seen it. It's like a little square, and it has like shapes and stuff.
Oh,
we're practicing on. Yeah,
I think I've seen it like Instagram or something.
Yeah, we're practicing on that, and then like literally week 2, we were already with the mannequin, prepping on teeth and stuff. Our first practical was like week 3, so it's super fast paced. And yeah, so then after D1 year, we enter clinic our second year. And the thing about that is that there's still things that like we weren't allowed to do second year. So for example, I couldn't do root canals at the time, but now that I'm a third year, I'm allowed to. But your second year is mostly going to be stuff like a lot of fillings, crown preps. Something cool is we're also in oral surgery, so we do a lot of extractions in second year as well. Lots of cleaning and things like that. And third year is when the more like complex cases come in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
like how were your hand skills going into it, and how are they now?
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I thought I'd be nice with it. I was like, oh, you know, like I like am artistic. I like photography, things like that. Like this will be easy. My first practical, I got a 0, and it's like this. The thing is like, okay, the lowest score you can get is a 0. So scale from 0 to 9, and I struggled in SimLab. I don't know what it was, but like, it was so hard to me, like being able to work on such a small surface, and like they want like super precise measurements, super like nice shapes and things like that, and I just couldn't get it. And it was kind of frustrating because like, you know, I was in sim lab like till closing. Meanwhile, some people wouldn't even go in and practice, and they'd be getting like 7s, 8s in their practicals, and they're just really nice with this. So I'm like, what's not clicking here? Like, is something wrong? But I think that's the thing with sim lab. It kind of takes a while for you to get adjusted to it. For some people, they get it right away, but others, they kind of need that practice. So my third quarter of DD1 year is when things really starts to click for me. I started having tutoring and things like that. And they put you in like extra classes if you need the help for hand skills as well. And yeah, it paid off a lot. Now looking back to the work that I did in clinic, I'm like, there's no way, like seeing that versus my sim lab work, like there's no way like these are the same people to me. Which is kind of crazy to think about.
So like, is the program like so what's the quarter system there? Like, is it like, can you run me through like calendar year? Like, how does it kind of get broken down? Because I mean, you guys are hopping into something so fast compared to other schools. That's why I know like what exactly is going on each month.
Yeah, so it was kind of weird for me because is your school right now semester or quarter?
We're semester,
yeah. So my undergrad was also semester, so I was used to just having like 2 chunks, right? But at quarter system, how it works is we're in school from July to June,
right?
And like I thought that was kind of crazy. I was like, oh shoot, like dental school, like you don't get any breaks at all. But we still have summers. I know a lot of dental schools don't have summers anymore. But how it works is each quarter is 10 weeks long, and then after the 10 weeks, you get a week off. So, but if it's like winter break, obviously you get more than a week off. For summer break, we've almost had a month of summer break, which is a lot to think about. But yeah, so it's just 10 weeks of grinding, you know. For D2 year, that looks like a lot of just clinic work. We started taking some classes as well for like regular studying and stuff like that. And then your 11th week is just finals. And then you get the breaks, just kind of chill and do nothing. You know what I mean? So it is really fast paced, but I low-key think I prefer it more to the more than the semester system now.
Yeah. And it is the school like a pass fail system, or is it on grades too?
We are a graded school. So that's one thing I don't like about the school. It's like you do get graded for everything and you do get ranked. The rank's not like a scoreboard where they can just see like what ranking you are, they just tell you in your report card. But it yeah. I kind of wish our school was pass fail sometimes, but there's some courses that we take that are pass fail, but a majority of our classes are graded.
I mean, that's interesting. So, I mean, I know a lot of schools are pass fail now. A lot of schools are transitioning pass fail. I mean, you're already approaching that kind of time where you're going to apply like a residency program. Does California require a residency after dental school? Or
no? So right after school, you can go and practice if you want. The thing is, I don't know entirely if I am ready to or not. I'm planning on doing a residency. I'm just applying for like a GPR, which is like a 1 year extra. But with that, there's a lot of planning to do ahead of time because like application deadlines are a certain date. You need to get your board scores in by a certain time as well. So it's kind of just like planning your summer out. I don't want to waste this month. I really want to be like efficient with it. Yeah. So yeah.
I mean, so take me back. So like you guys start seeing patients D2 year, you said, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, how was that first like encounter, I guess, if you remember it?
So it was like every like first appointment you're not like jumping into like fillings and stuff right away. You got to do like a first patient exam, and I was pretty nervous, but like the thing is they let you shadow upperclassmen in your own free time too. So the very first appointment is called an ODTP. Basically, you bring the patient in, you look at their med history, you do a bunch of charting in their mouth, and you see what work they need to be done, and you kind of make a treatment plan together. And then every appointment after that is you checking off something from that treatment plan list, right? So with that first appointment, I was able to shadow a lot of upperclassmen doing it ahead of time. So that way, when it was my turn to do it, I would be very like, I wouldn't be confused. I'd be like, hey, this is what goes next and stuff like that. And also, one cool thing is that throughout your D1 year, they put you in clinic as well with your other classmates. So you're doing different steps of that first patient exam on each other. So that way, when you do it on the real patient, it's not like your very first time doing it. You've done it plenty of times before. And honestly, like it did help out a ton. And like I had my notes pulled up on my like computer as well, just like where to go and things to do. So it was kind of nerve wracking because it's someone else, that you've never worked with before. But we had assistants with us too. Like my classmate assisted me. But now like we're at that point where a lot of procedures we can kind of do on our own and not need any help with. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, I mean, what kind of things have you done so far?
Yeah. So lots of those exams I talked about, ODTPs. I've done a lot of fillings, lots of deep cleanings like SRPs, lots of regular cleanings. What else have we done? I've done some crown preps. I'm in the process of delivering some dentures right now. I've done a bunch of extractions too. So I've done about almost everything, I guess, that we have learned except for endo. I have a few cases lined up for me when I go back to school this third year. But yeah, so we've done quite a bit. We have a lot of like anesthesia as well. So yeah.
I mean, have you guys done like implant work too?
Yeah. So at UOP, we ourselves can't basically place the implant, but we do everything leading up to it. So one of my patients just received her implant a while back, but I had to do all the prep work for it, make her come in for the x-ray and things like that, kind of prepare her models, create like a splint to kind of guide them during the implant placement. And on the actual day itself, you're there, you're scrubbing, you kind of assist with it as well, but you're not the one actually placing it in. Yeah.
So it's like, so you said faculty does it, or like?
Yeah. There's faculty that do it, and there's also your third year too. UOP has a program where if you want to get more skilled at implant placement, you can apply for it, and then they accept you, and then you'll be the one actually physically placing it. So at that surgery, a third year was the one that was actually doing it. So I was kind of helping her out.
Nice. I mean, so like, what are you most interested in at this point in dental school? Like, you're going to your third year, you're kind of in that process of applying to residency programs. Are you just most interested in like general dentistry, or you kind of want to eventually do more than that?
I think for now, kind of general dentistry is kind of where I'm at. A lot of different, the thing is we have a bunch of different rotations that they put us in, right. And I've kind of enjoyed a lot of the rotation I've been put in. So like with pediatrics, for example, I thought I wouldn't enjoy that at all, but I really liked working with kids at the end of the day. So that was something I was thinking about for a little bit. We have oral surgery rotation. That's always cool to be an OS. But I think right now I'm kind of happy with doing possibly a GPR and then seeing what kind of skills I can get from that. But I think in dental school itself, my main priority right now is kind of picking up speed, because I've been we get 3 hours to see one patient, and in real life, that's like 3 patients you'll be seeing, you know? So I've been trying to work on my speed as well. I've been trying to book 2 different patients during that 3-hour block to really kind of challenge myself, and it gets done. So like, I think I kind of want to make that a new normal, just being really efficient with your dental work while not like compromising the quality of the care you get, you know?
Yeah. I mean, so like for like a regular crown appointment, you guys had 3 hours for like 1 crown.
There's a lot of like background work. So like you got to take their models and then you prep the crown and you put a temporary crown in it. And then next appointment, they come back, you take an impression again, send it out to the lab. The lab sends you back the final crown and then you put it on. So like, that's kind of the annoying part of dental school is, you know, they want you to learn like the reasons why behind you're doing each step. And because of that, it's a lot slower than like a traditional practice. But yeah, you do learn kind of the rationale behind everything.
Right. And so like, what are some of like the, you know, the biggest obstacles or challenges you faced like in these past 2 years at least? And like, what do you think that you're going to have to overcome in the future, just last year?
So I think first year, one of the biggest challenges I had was kind of, like I said, not comparing myself to other people, kind of getting out of my head and realizing that like we all go at our own pace, you know, you just got to do the best that you personally can do. And then, you only get better from there. But I think D2 year, kind of just managing patient expectations, has been a little challenging because, you know, in their eyes, like they're your only patient. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, why can't you see me sooner? Stuff like that. But like, you have a bunch of other patients to deal with. You have school to balance out as well. Kind of just keeping everyone happy, I guess,
Right.
is something that can be kind of challenging to work on. But yeah, I think going forward with third year, my next kind of hurdle is getting all the graduation requirements done, making sure I pass all the exams that I have to take, and kind of just making sure that I also really enjoy this last year, because, you know, it's going to be over before I know it.
Super fast paced, to be honest. 3 years, it probably goes by super fast. I mean,
I know. Yeah.
it's crazy. I mean, so I know like something unique about the school is that you can't wear scrubs. I saw.
Yeah.
Is that actually, that's why is
What?
Why is that?
They say it's for like a professional, like professional, I don't know, just didn't make us like all like look like a dentist, you know, play the part. But like, I'm still a big advocate for scrubs. I think people should do it. They give us, we wear like collar shirts and stuff like that. We just have like an over like gown thing we throw on. But yeah, I don't know why they don't let us wear scrubs. Sometimes in oral surgery you can, but in the main clinic floor, no, you can't.
So, what are your favorite things about the school that you've thought about these past 2 years? Like, and like, has the school like met your expectations of what you thought going in?
Let me see. I think some things I really like about the school are that it's very like, okay, a lot of the students at the school are like work hard, play hard, in the sense that like, you know, I think it takes a certain kind of person to go into a 3-year dental school program. So everyone's very on top of the stuff that they do.
Right.
But because of that, like, people here are really good at kind of balancing school with like kind of like the social life and trying to just like recharge. So that's something that I really liked about all my classmates. And we still kind of do hang out as a class. Every now and then we'll have like functions as an entire class, not just like small groups of people hanging out. So I think that's something that's pretty cool. But I feel like, honestly, like expectations wise, the school, you know, one thing about UOP is that I hear a lot about its clinical reputation, and I feel like it kind of has met that for me already, in the sense that like I've been doing a lot of work that I know students at other schools haven't done yet. Cause like on dental Instagram, all these people post their work and stuff like that. So it's really cool just seeing like okay, if I was a D4 at this school or like a D3 at this school, where would I be kind of in the bigger picture of things?
Right.
So kind of just seeing how much I've been able to accomplish already in my first 2 years in dental school is something that I kind of really like about the school. So I feel like in that sense, it kind of has met my expectations. It is very challenging. So it's definitely met my expectations in that way as well. But I think too, like looking back at it all, that kind of thing where everyone's like, oh, you're not going to have any free time, like enjoy it while you can, like it's terrible. I don't think that's true at all. I know a really common stereotype of UOP kids, because I've hung out with students of other schools, is that UOP kids are depressed because like all you do is grind all the time. But like, I don't know, my second year has been really chill, and like I've had a lot more free time to just do whatever I want. Like, I don't know. So I'm kind of expecting that to my third year as well. So yeah.
I mean, so like what kind of what kind of classes do you take during like your D2 or D1, D2 year where you're like, okay, this is kind of shifting away from what I experienced from the DAT, and this is shifting more to like teeth stuff and like stuff that's more directly related? Because I know you guys I'd say like biochemistry and like most of like the undergraduate courses in like condensed version. So what were some like what were like some of your favorite classes that you took at school?
I'm trying to think. So we have like, there are more dental related classes. Like there's like a D1 year, we have this tooth anatomy class. I hated it, but like you have to learn like super specific, like this tooth has like a slight like higher ridge than all the ones. That's how you should be able to tell it. And like at the end of the class, we had like an individual tooth at each station, and we'd all rotate and pick it up and try to like figure out what it was. I thought I killed it. I ended up failing that test. Yeah, but I don't know. There's still like, I'm not gonna lie, even in dental school, there still are classes where I'm like, why are we learning this? It's kind of just like super, just like niche stuff about like dental materials, like, oh, this is the properties of like composite, and like this is why this and that. I'm like, they're a drag. Like you just gotta sit there and get through it. But at least they're more like related to clinical stuff and kind of stuff you will see when you're working with patients, as opposed to like DAT, like keyhole. Like none of that PAT stuff even matters in dental school. And like reading, never use that chem. Like we use it like once. Like, yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. So I mean, like, what are some advice you have, for kids that are applying dental school right now, and kind of, I guess, not struggling, but like kind of finding it all really complicated? Because applying dental school is kind of complicated. Like there's a lot of stuff you got to go through. There's a lot of boxes you got to check off.
I don't know. When you were applying, what did you think was like the most challenging part, I guess, of the process?
Honestly, like just like to me, I guess getting everything in order, because there's so many like things you got to think about. Because I mean, for me, something that was really annoying was like understanding if the AP credit like transferred over to certain schools. Prereqs, because I know I had like math like knocked out because of like AP math and like AP calc in high school. It's like that was not something I ever thought about when I was in undergrad. Was because like at Stony Brook, like when you take AP courses, they already substitute them out for certain courses. So like to me, like Stony Brook accepted the credit, but like maybe a school like Buffalo or something, or Columbia, I don't know which schools, but some of the schools may not accept it. So there's always like little things that like because every undergrad institution is different. So like getting on it early and kind of getting everything together, like rec letters, dude. Oh my, rec letters, personal statement. I mean, I don't think I finalized mine until like the last week. I mean, wait, you have to write a personal statement for yours too, right?
What did you say?
Personal statement?
Yeah, we have to write one.
Yeah. I mean, making it not sound generic was a big thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess with the whole process itself, kind of like, I think getting things done early is something that really helped me out a ton, and like you said, it is very confusing, so kind of staying organized with everything too. Especially the personal statement. I know that you're never going to have like a product that like you're completely satisfied with, because like no matter how many different people you show, they're each going to have a different opinion on it, so I think kind of just looking back at it now, not like freaking out over kind of every small detail. I'm guilty of it myself. When I was applying, I was like freaking out about a bunch of different things. But now, like from the other side, like looking at it, it's like a lot of students will ask me about the most random things, like, oh yeah, like should I include this one and stuff like that. And I'm like in a bigger picture, I feel like this isn't going to make or break whether you get a down school. You know what I mean? So I feel like kind of just, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Kind of just like taking a break, kind of just like realizing that like it all kind of works out. You know, you put in all the work for this throughout all the years and stuff like that. Like it will pay off one way or another. But yeah, I don't know. It is kind of hard to give an piece of advice about this.
Yeah, I think just like the biggest thing is like just people have said like just stay genuine to your application. I mean, just know your application, but like don't lie. I guess it's like because they'll know. They'll figure it out. So I mean, yeah, but so I just want to ask you, like, how'd you kind of come about your Instagram profile? I know you're like you post a lot of tips on there, a lot of different things. How'd that kind of start up, and like what's your kind of your goal for the page?
Yeah, so I kind of like I started it after I graduated. So it was during COVID. There was nothing to do.
Yeah,
and like we'd always see like as undergrads like people with these pages as well. Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, we would like troll them and be like, oh, like what is this? Like what are they posting? Stuff like that. And then I was like, you know what? Like I'll do it. Like why not? We have COVID. I have nothing to do. So I posted it, and like I deleted a bunch of my earlier posts. Like looking back at it, I kind of post like troll stuff. But it kind of like I'm a very like I like taking pictures, like recording things and stuff like that, and looking back on, especially on like Snapchat, for example. That's like 1 year ago today. You get all these stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I kind of want to have like these memories to look back on, So I kind of just started off by like posting stuff and like documenting what I was doing in dental school. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be pretty like. Because you see those people that post like unrealistic, like day in the life type of stuff, like they make dental school seem like it's just like, oh, you're in class for 2 hours, then you're chilling, like doing nothing. So I feel like a thing that I wanted to do is kind of be realistic with it and make sure that I was able to capture like what I was doing and just see my progression throughout the years. And I felt like if I only posted like a highlight reel of dental school, it wouldn't be like an accurate picture, especially for me to kind of look back on and reflect on. So even the 1 year when I was struggling, I'd still like to kind of share those things. Honestly, it was a reminder to myself at first that like, I was like one day in the future when I'm more confident and better with my hand skills, looking back at this, I'm going to laugh. And honestly, sometimes now I do. Like I go back and look at my stuff from first year. I'm like, this is terrible. Like, why was I posting this? Like, I shouldn't be sharing this with anyone. But like, it kind of makes you reflect on where you've come from, and kind of just how much progress you've made in such little time. And kind of in sharing that along the way, people started following it, kind of getting like interested in it and saying, oh, like, this is what you do in dental school. I never knew that. Because like, honestly, I had no clue what you do in dental school. I just assumed it's all teeth. But like, kind of sharing a daily perspective on what you do is what I wanted to do and what I still enjoy doing. So yeah, it's kind of taken off into something that like now it's kind of fun to just document things that I do so I can look back on when I graduate. But yeah, and I do get like a bunch of free stuff out of it too. Kind of
yeah. Not scrubs though, right?
That's right.
That's funny. Nah, man. So thanks for coming on. I really appreciate making time to come on. I know the time is crazy, but yeah, man, we'll definitely talk soon. I feel like as you go through D3, you'll probably find more experiences, more things to talk about. And best of luck, man. Appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.